Welcome back, my friends. The news today is about Google layoffs. Specifically, a prominent software engineer says company is randomly firing people. Apparently, protests are erupting across Google campuses as reports indicate layoffs reaching 15,000. A Google software engineer criticized the company on LinkedIn. The employee claims that the company is randomly firing people. Several employees at Google are losing their jobs, contributing to a rising sense of dissatisfaction within the company. A software engineer, witnessing numerous departures, expressed frustration on LinkedIn, stating that Google is terminating people arbitrarily. But before we get into all of that, I would like to thank everyone who views my videos. If you would like to support the channel, please see the link to buy me a coffee in the video description below. And please hit the like button and leave me a comment below. I would love to hear from you. Please subscribe and hit the bell icons so that you are notified of upcoming videos when they are released. Google is facing criticism for its recent layoffs, which some employees and observers claim are arbitrary and unfair. According to Google, the layoffs are part of a strategic review of its operations and priorities, and are not random. However, some of the affected workers have disputed this explanation and accused Google of targeting activists, whistleblowers, and underrepresented groups. Some of the areas that have been hit by the layoffs include Google's hardware, engineering and assistant teams, as well as its augmented reality and YouTube divisions. Google has not disclosed the exact number of employees who have lost their jobs, but some reports estimate it to be in the hundreds. Google's CEO Sundar Pichai has warned that more layoffs are coming in 2024, as the company tries to streamline its business and focus on its biggest opportunities. During this current round of Google layoffs, there is escalating employee discontent. Google's ongoing wave of layoffs is intensifying employee dissatisfaction. A Google software engineer, witnessing a substantial number of colleagues leaving, expressed frustration on LinkedIn, claiming the company is engaging in random terminations. This latest round of job cuts adds to the consistent downsizing trend over the past year, with reports indicating a significant impact on approximately 15,000 employees, following last year's 12,000 job reductions. With over 8 years of experience, Google software engineer Diane Hirsch-Theriault took to LinkedIn to express her concerns about the company's leadership. In a candid and extensive post, she criticized the management, denouncing what she perceived as arbitrary dismissals and accusing them of depleting the valuable institutional knowledge within the organization. Theriault emphasized the negative consequences on perfectly functional teams and mourned the decline of the once magical work environment at Google. Expressing her sentiments, Theriault noted, "Google truly was a magical place not too long ago. Yet, for some reason, executives are depleting their human capital just when it appears they need it the most." The software engineer also raised alarms about the widespread sense of nihilism within the company, observing that many employees have adopted a mindset of simply going through the motions until they inevitably face termination. Organized protests have reportedly intensified within Google, led by the Alphabet Workers Union, with demonstrations planned at 5 campuses across the United States. The protesters aim to challenge what they view as misleading talking points used by Google to justify its decision-making processes. The current round of layoffs are said to be disruptive impact and employee strain. Stephen McMurtry, the communications chair of the Alphabet Workers Union and a senior software engineer, highlights the disruptive impact of layoffs, citing increased workloads and widespread anxiety among employees. These protests serve as a response to the perceived turmoil within the company, reflecting the discontent among workers over the management's strategies. The Alphabet Workers Union, through these demonstrations, seeks to draw attention to the human consequences of layoffs and advocates for a more compassionate approach to workforce management within Google. Expressing concern, McMurtry stated in a press release, "Our colleagues are understandably outraged and increasingly frustrated as we witness Google prioritizing efficiency over the individuals integral to the company's ongoing remarkable success." The protests aim to highlight the human toll of the layoffs and advocate for a more compassionate approach to managing the workforce. Google's strategic review is about evaluating its current operations, products, and services, and identifying its key priorities and opportunities for the future. According to Google, the review is aimed at improving its efficiency, innovation, and customer satisfaction. Some of the aspects that Google is reviewing include some pretty vague areas. Its management processes and practices, such as how to run meetings, have conversations, and set goals. Its business structure and organization, such as how to balance its core businesses, search ads, YouTube, etc., with its other ventures, hardware, cloud, etc. its market position and competition, such as how to maintain its leadership in online search and advertising, and how to expand its presence in emerging markets and technologies. Google's strategic review is expected to result in more changes than layoffs in 2024, as the company tries to streamline its business and focus on its biggest opportunities. Google's CEO Sundar Pichai has said that the review is not about cutting costs, but about investing in the right areas. Alphabet is cutting dozens of jobs at its Moonshot lab. The division is getting an overhaul to make it easier to spin out projects into startups. Just days after Alphabet and Google CEO Sundar Pichai warned workers of more downsizing this year, the former is laying off dozens of employees, mainly support staff, at its Moonshot lab. Alphabet is also restructuring X, not to be confused with the platform formerly known as Twitter, to make it easier to spin out projects as independent startups with backing from outside investors. Alphabet confirmed these changes. As we've said, we're responsibly investing in our company's biggest priorities and the significant opportunities ahead, a Google spokesperson told Engadget in a statement. To best position us for these opportunities, throughout the second half of 2023, a number of our teams made changes to become more efficient and work better, and to align their resources to their biggest product priorities. Some teams are continuing to make these kinds of organizational changes, which include some role eliminations globally. We're continuing to support any impacted employees as they look for new roles here at Google and beyond. We're expanding our approach to focus on spinning out more projects as independent companies, funded through market-based capital, X-Division head Astro Teller told staff in a memo. We'll do this by opening our scope to collaborate with a broader base of industry and financial partners, and by continuing to emphasize lean teams and capital efficiency. This approach will give us more opportunity to focus on what Xers do best, inventing breakthrough technologies to help solve some of the world's most pressing challenges, Teller added. Because the world needs moonshots more now than ever. Last year, former Alphabet Chief Financial Officer Ruth Porat became the company's president and chief investment officer, and now oversees X. As Bloomberg notes, there has been a greater onus on X to turn its ambitious ideas into profitable businesses over the last few years, while Alphabet is cutting costs across the board. Earlier this month, Google laid off hundreds of workers from various divisions, including the hardware, engineering, and ad sales teams, as it places more emphasis on artificial intelligence. A year ago, Google let go most workers from its Area 120 startup incubator. Some observers are accusing Google of caving to pressure from activist shareholders in its current round of layoffs. But there is no definitive answer to this question, as Google has not publicly acknowledged any direct influence from activist shareholders on its decision to lay off workers. However, some analysts and observers have speculated that Google may be responding to the pressure from TCI Fund Management, a hedge fund that holds a $6 billion stake in the company, and has urged Google to cut headcount and costs. TCI has also criticized Google's compensation and management practices, and has demanded a clear action plan from the company. On the other hand, Google has maintained that the layoffs are part of its strategic review of its operations and priorities, and are not random or arbitrary. Google's CEO, Sundar Pichai, has said that the review is not about cutting costs, but about investing in the right areas. Google has also faced other challenges and controversies, such as antitrust investigations, employee activism, and content moderation issues, which may have influenced its decision to restructure its business. Therefore, it is possible that Google is caving to activist shareholder pressure in its current round of layoffs. But it is also possible that Google is acting independently and in its own best interest. The truth may lie somewhere in between as Google tries to balance the demands of its shareholders, employees, customers, and regulators. But what do you think? Please hit the like button and leave us a comment below. We would love to hear from you. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you are notified of upcoming videos when they are released. Please share this video on social media. And before we end, a word from the sponsor of this video. Today's sponsor is ProWorldNet.com. ProWorldNet.com is a job website specifically dedicated to licensed professions. Doctors, including any type of specialty. Nurses, and that includes all grades of nurses. Lawyers, regardless of area of legal focus. Teachers and professors, from kindergarten through graduate school, as well as any kind of job that requires a government license or certification. And ProWorldNet.com also includes short-term gig-type jobs as well. So be sure to check out ProWorldNet.com if you are looking for a job or an employee. Thank you for watching.